Hear me out now. Turn it up loud. Coach Delson, Coach Butts. We gon' break it all down. Hear me out.
Welcome back to Hear Me Out with Elzy and Butts, and I am Butts, and we're ready for another episode. It's been a real interesting time, Coach. I got some things on my mind I would love to discuss today.
All right, well, let's get it. Well, first of all, again, this week, I think you are trying to steal my vibe. I have on a white neutral, and then you have on the same thing. I guess great minds do think alike.
Maybe so, because I was not trying to match you at all, but that's exactly what we've done.
Okay.
But the bigger question is, will we match on these answers?
Probably not.
I have to ask you about something, right? Because I don't know if you've been watching, because you don't do the whole TV show selection the way I do it.
Okay.
You are
that is correct.
In your choices, right? But Married at First Sight is back on with a new season, right? There are some interesting pairings on Married at First Sight. I won't get into who's paired with who and all of those things. But what I will ask you is about a particular issue that maybe one of the couples or two of the couples is dealing with. If you are partnered with someone who, if you go on a show, Married at First Sight, for those who are not familiar, it's a show where people literally get married at first sight. It's the first time you are seeing your husband or your wife. And you know, one of the biggest things is, will you be attracted to each other?
Okay.
All right. One of the husbands said out loud to his wife that she was more attracted to him than he was to her. Now, if
that's so
you
sad.
are being told this, he said he was attracted, but not as attracted as she was to him, or at least he didn't feel like he was. He felt like she was more attracted than he was to her.
Okay.
From that point on, how do you navigate that situation?
Well, if he had somewhat felt attracted to her, there's a chance that once they get to know each other, that he might fall for the things that she provides, not just a physical look, but you can have an intellectual connection. You all could bond over something that happened in life that is very familiar with both of you guys. So you can be attracted, because there's a lot of people that are not attracted to each other initially, but still fall for each other.
You make an excellent point. However, you are being told this, right? You hear this. I understand that attraction can grow, but doesn't that, like, if you know your partner has to grow to be attracted to you from the very start, this is not, we're talking about it years later, and hey, we met 20 years ago, and at first I wasn't feeling you. It's not that conversation. It is me looking you in your eye and your face and saying, yeah, I'm about 70% there.
See, me personally, I probably would be done.
Yeah.
Because that would play in my mind over and over again. And I would have questions about it. Then I would want to talk to him about it. I'm too analytical for that. So for me personally, it probably would never work. And then I'm going to be like, okay, well, I'm going to go find somebody that is attracted to me. But I don't know that I could do it. And then I probably would lose my attraction for him, because I'm like, there's nothing going to happen between the two of us for us to connect, because you've already said that to me on the front end. So for me, there would be no recovering.
Okay, hear me out. The husband who is also making this statement, also, and this is another issue that I want to ask your opinion about. How do you feel about the painting of the nails, the fingernails, and all of these things from a male perspective? Not manicures and pedicures, because I definitely think everyone should take care of themselves physically. I am talking about aesthetically, painted nails for guys versus painted nails for girls. That's been in the news as well.
Yes. Well, let me just say this. There's nothing wrong with it. Everybody has their right to express themselves how they see fit. Right. Okay. But for me, if I am dating someone, I want you to go to the nail salon with me to get manis and pedis, because you know I have a thing about fingernails.
This is why I asked.
I want them to be clean. I want them to look like it flips me out if I see dirty fingernails, because now if your fingernails are dirty, I don't know if you've washed, I don't know if you're clean, I don't know what's happening, but when I look at your nails, I know there's a chance that other things might not be clean. And that's just my mind. However, if I am dating someone, engaged, married, I definitely do not want to see them with the same color fingernail polish that I have on. Now, I want them to be clean. You don't have to get any polish, just clean them up. But yes. However, like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. When Jackson was younger, for those who do not know, that's my son, Butts' godson. He came home with blue polish on his nails. My mom was flipping out. Take the polish. That's for boys. And I do think you have to let people express themselves. So I explained to him that boys do not polish their nails. It's for girls.
Well, maybe they do.
In our household. Let me say that.
Do.
In our household. Probably about 3 weeks later, we get to the nail salon. This is the thing about kids. They will say anything, anywhere. We were in the nail salon. He was playing his video game. I was getting my toes done. And there was a little boy, maybe about 6 years old, that had black toenail polish on. And he goes, Mom, I thought you said boys do not paint their nails and toes. But for their household, that might be it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a personal preference. I think if you're okay with it, paint them. But it's kind of like, do you like a bald head or a low haircut? Do you like braids? Do you like locks? I think it can fall in that realm. But I know that you like hands. Yes. So I was wondering, with the nails, be okay for you? No.
That would not be okay for me. And there's nothing wrong with it, but I don't want it for me. What about you?
No, it wouldn't be something that I would like, I don't think. I don't even paint my nails. I don't even paint my nails, so I don't think I would be like, oh my gosh, he has great nails. They're black or blue or whatever. Now, manicured, yes. I want manicured hands. We don't need crusty feet or hands anywhere. But yeah, I don't think I would necessarily do the color.
I'm with you. But I'm thinking back to being attracted. So, hear me out. Do you feel like you could be attracted to something besides looks that lures you in to be like, I fell for this person? Because you see in the world, there's a lot of beautiful women or beautiful men that society does not think their significant other, holds a candle to their beauty. I mean, we do it all the time. We're like, I wonder why they're together. I wonder, but there has to be something that connects them.
100%. I think I'm attracted to people's personality, kindness, how they treat other people. That is so attractive to me. If someone is really kind, nice, and mannerable and, just helping other people, I just think that's so attractive. So 100% you can be attracted to other things other than physical features, for sure.
But can you date someone with all those things, but you were not physically attracted to them?
I think you have to have something physical that you are attracted to.
You did say, you say personality.
I didn't think you don't have to be the total package, right? I like every single thing about him. I think it's great. You may do that when you grow to love someone because you love the whole person, right? But maybe you don't. Maybe he has big ears, or she has big ears, or a long chin. I ain't particularly crazy about my chin, but I think
what?
I'm just thinking we all have, and that's another thing I want to get into, the insecurities that we have as women, as men, as individuals. But I think there has to be something that you find attractive. It doesn't have to be what the next person finds attractive in your same partner, right? You may see someone and I think, oh my God, he looks great. He has nice eyes. I like his hair. I like his beard.
You like his teeth.
I like his body. And you may be like, I do not like his head at all. He has a crazy shaped head, right? You may not find that attractive. So I just think it differs with different situations.
And I also think as we're getting older, maybe what you thought was a priority younger changes over the years. Because
I would agree with that.
Grow and evolve. And so maybe what I was attracted to younger, a little bad boy-ish.
Oh, geez.
You
know what? I'm not even going to get into that.
Well, I'm just being transparent. And I know there are some hear me out viewers and listeners from the female perspective or the male. There are things that you wanted, the thrill, the excitement, the fun. When you're young, you're single, and it's your time to figure out what you want and don't want. But I knew when it was time to be married and settle down to have kids, that was a particular partner that I was looking for, and I knew that God was going to bless me with. So that is the difference.
See, that's where we differ. Right? Everybody, and I mean everybody who is watching, who is listening, please understand, I was never down with the foolishness. I don't care. I have never been attracted to the bad boy, so to speak. And I use these I'm hard pressing on the air quotes here. I've never been attracted to that. Like that foolishness has never been a part of my criteria.
Well, yeah, that is true. But you are also on the other end of the spectrum, that you don't believe in 3 strikes. They get half a strike and then they're out. So I do think there is some grace in between of maybe not all the way to the opposite end of the spectrum of foolishness, but also if they blink their eyes wrong, they shouldn't be done either. And that is kind of where that's kind of where you live. A blink, wrong. He's out.
Wow. That's incredible.
I mean, not to put your business out there, but you remember we were having this discussion, and all my ladies or males listening or watching, do you remember one time? You have plenty of stories, but the one time a guy did not call you back. I can't even remember the time. It was 5:30. Maybe you all set to talk. And maybe he called at 5:35.
No.
You were done.
No, that was not what happened.
Okay, 5:40.
I'm going to defend
Done.
myself. Listen, if you say, I understand that things happen. We are both busy people. people are busy in life, right? Things happen. However, if there is something planned, first of all, we did not live in the same state. In fact, we lived about 30 states apart. So if we've set up a time to talk and communicate, and you say you're going to call it this time, if something comes up prior to that, I completely understand. That's our life, right? You call or you text that individual and you say, hey, something came up. I will need to reschedule, or I'm going to call maybe 15 minutes later, or can we do 15 minutes earlier? Whatever the case may be, but there is some communication. It wasn't that he just didn't call. There was no communication as to what happened with that call. And I feel like that's a sign of other things you may fall short in my opinion. Now, I would love some. I know I'll get some feedback.
But he was done after that, correct?
No, there were other things that also happened. Listen, there have been a lot of people with a lot of great advice, and one thing I always remember people saying is, when people show you who they are, believe them.
I agree with that, but
there were other things that happened with this particular individual that led me to believe we were just not aligned. Right? Because there is no way you're going to tell me, if we're setting up something, it's just a part of being, to me, you showing somebody the courtesy and the respect of letting them know what's going on. And it spoke to their communication style. That's not my communication style. If you can't communicate with me, it's going to be very hard. We don't live in the same state. We're not around each other. But if our communication starts off being flawed, how is it going to work?
I agree with that. I agree. But that was just an example of small little things. Because, Coach, now I will say, some of the time you don't even get to the red flags, which you are very good at discernment and red flags, and so you are very good with that. But sometimes it doesn't even get to red. Sometimes it's still green flags, and you will cut them off. So how many? That's what we need to get to. Hear me out. How many flags? Is it 1 red flag, 2 red flags? Is it 3 and done? And what are you willing to tolerate? And at this age and juncture, some of the things that you had on your list prior to now, has that changed? Hit us up and let us know what you think. But back to the show. The show that you could actually do, Married at First Sight, I could never. Yeah. Never. That's just so fascinating to me because our personalities are so different. As far as
very different,
thrilling, excitement, jumping out of planes, skydiving, all the things we talked about, I will do all of those things, which make you so nervous about all of them. So I can't not believe that you will go on a show,
yes,
and not know the person and get married. There's no way, because my facial expressions say it all. And I would just be so devastated if I walk down that aisle. And 1, he's not attracted to me. But 2, if I'm not attracted to him and we have to go on a honeymoon and pretend, I'm not going to make it. So I would probably be a great candidate for the show because they're going to get the reaction that they wanted, where you would probably be like, it's cool. We're going to, go and we're going to see what's happening. And I'm going to be the friend behind, be like, girl, you all right? You like him? What you think? We don't have to.
It would be made for TV is basically what you're saying.
Yes.
Yours would be truly made for TV.
Truly.
Lord have mercy.
So all the things that make you nervous, that should be one of the biggest ones.
It would. But you know what? It would be an experience. I would chalk it up as an experience, right? You don't see how?
Experience to me, we can go to Ireland and go skydiving. That's an experience.
Okay.
Not that type of experience. Now, I would love to be the friend on the show because, girl, the sister girls behind you, they would probably do a spinoff of our sister girl group behind the scenes, watching you and talking you through. It would be a spinoff for sure.
Now, listen, let's talk about on this line, on this level of conversation about being attracted and all of those things. With social media now and everything is in front of a camera, what are some things when you were younger that may have been some insecurities that you had about who you were as a person, what you looked like, how you behaved, how you acted, that now you don't have? Or perhaps you still do. Right?
I think people still have all
still
types of
what
insecurities.
Some of your insecurities, because that's not something people really discuss a lot, and I think we all have them.
Well, one, younger, I would say my height, because I felt like I towered over all of my friends. Like I shot up between 8th and 9th grade. And all the boys were short. And, you know, you only live in your little bubble in Kentucky. So I just thought all boys were little. And so
you were really long.
I was really long. And so I am now, because of that experience, that was before they were making all the tall girl clothing. Till I cannot stand it. I do not want any short pants. I don't care. Jeans, sweatpants. I don't want any short shirts. I want everything to fit, drag the ground. So thank gosh for all the tall girl clothing now. But that was a big thing, like to feel like you were flooding all the time. Or you had to get them so big. I was skinny. And so I had to get them so big in the waist for them to maybe touch my ankles. That really did something to me. So now that I don't have to, don't give me anything short. I will return the sweatpants or give them away. Do not. Tall girls do not like that. So younger. Now older, I would say everybody deals with insecurities. But I think one of my biggest insecurities, you and I talk about all the time. See, I have always been part of the itty bitty committee. And since I've been part of the itty bitty committee, I always said, girl, when I have a baby or I'm done trying to have babies, I am going to buy me the best rack possible.
No.
And no, listen, this is a real insecurity. I know it's not to you for somebody that has a lot, but it's a real, because let me tell you, to all my ladies who have the privilege of being in the itty bitty club, when you go into a store and you want to try on a bathing suit and you don't want the pads, you want them to already be lifted up. So when I have a chance to get to the surgeon that I need to get to, oh, you all will not be able to tell me anything. I'm going to be running around like Pamela Anderson.
Don't worry, people.
On Baywatch.
No, she's not.
I am.
No, she's
and
not.
Then the other thing is, when you go to try to buy clothes and they already have the shirt fitted that you're supposed to put the girls in, oh, I'm outraged. I want the shirt. Do not make that
top.
flat. But that's okay. That's okay. Because there's other privileges that the itty bitty committee can do that big girls can't do. Right. Big racks, I should say, cannot do. So that would be one. And then two, I've always wanted a nose job.
Well, Coach, that's like three. You said your height.
Well, that was when I was younger. Now, girl, now that I'm older, I love it because, listen, a lot of people love the tall girls. And then when I put my heels on, that's even better. But a nose job. Now, I don't want it to look.
Don't name any names.
I was not going to name any names. I was just going to say, like, I don't want it to look like I've gotten a nose job. Just slim it down.
Well,
but other than that, I can live with whatever God gave
but
me.
Coach,
I'm going to
you
work
do
with it.
understand if you get a nose job, it's going to look like you have a nose job.
No, there's some people that look really good.
But people who know you, I guess, maybe, it's going to look like you because we've seen you for.
But I can live with my nose as long as I got my girls done. But other than that, I'm blessed. Listen, I'm gonna look the way I'm gonna look, but though if you ask me my insecurities, those would be two of them.
But I guess the point is really for everyone is we all have them, and
we do.
It is okay to have insecurities, and it is okay to leave them where they are, Coach Elzy.
Yes, you can,
not
but
try to do any corrective procedures to fix them. I think that's very important to say. But it's also important to say for people who do that, it is their prerogative. It is they have control of their own bodies. It is just something I would recommend my friend not do as far as that. Me, personally, insecurities, my chin, I got like a little double chin action. I've always not liked that. You know, from the side, looks like I got a couple extra pounds right there.
Well, maybe because we're just getting old, but you can get that fixed as well, Coach.
Yeah, but I'm not going to. It's been on me for 48 years. It's not going anywhere. And then when I was younger, I think I used to. You ever bite your lip?
Oh, yeah.
I used to do that motion all the time where I would bite my lip and like kind of, and so it created a dark ring around on top of my lip. I used to have some insecurities about that because my skin, I have hyperpigmentation anyway, and anything can give me dark blemishes. So I used to have some insecurities about that. My height, I've never really been insecure about my height, but compared to you and some of the other people I was around, I was never really that tall in my world. However, walking around with the majority of Americans that are not athletes, I am definitely tall.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
I always liked being tall. And my feet, I would have thought I would have had some insecurity because my feet have always been big. Even to be small, my feet have been big. But I actually like that because I thought it made me faster or something for some reason and able to jump higher, which is probably not true. But I believed it, so I was okay with it. But I think for me, probably one of my biggest ones was my chin and sometimes my skin, especially when I was younger. As far as insecurities go.
I mean, that makes sense. But I do think when we're talking about height, because of the nature of what we do. So when I got to the University of Tennessee and I started looking around, I was like, oh, everybody's tall. There's tall females. There's tall male. Like, I thought that was like the best thing ever. It like opened my eyes to like, oh, there are tall people and you're not just the only one tall towering over people. So that was very exciting for me.
Coach, now, speaking of Tennessee, and, you know, when you think about when we played back in the day, right, and you think about now, the way college athletics is now, what are some of the glaring differences between when we were student athletes and now outside of NIL? Because we know that that's a major difference. But just in terms of the mindset and how players and coaches approach the game, what are some differences between now and then?
Well, one of the big things I think when I think about our teams at Tennessee, I think we kind of played positionless basketball before it was really a big thing. Like, it's a hot thing now, but I thought we kind of did that, before. And when you think about it, the size of our guards, it's where it is now. We were already 6'1", 6'2", 6 foot. So we were kind of already big. And when you think about our posts, a 6'6", a 6'5", like,
right.
that's kind of how we played with the athleticism, being able to compete. But I think the biggest thing is, you played with your AAU team. This is your AAU team. This is your high school team. You're playing with them, and that's it. You're not leaving after the first, eval period that things didn't go right. This is where it was. You're staying. This is your team. I played for my same little Kentucky Hustle team until I went to college. And then also, so I think, you kind of had to build the relationships. You stayed there through the good and the bad. Like I tell people all the time now, being on the other side, I chose Tennessee, where I wanted to be. I knew that from the time I was probably 16 years old. And then there was days when I got there and I'm like, oh, holy, what in the Sam heck have I done?
Right.
But it was the right decision and I did it for the right reasons. So that's my whole point, though. There's going to be tough days. There's going to be tough days. It's not all going to be a bed of roses. And you have to be able to work through those. So that's one of the biggest differences that I see.
I think definitely I'll co-sign all of that. But also, when people left back then, you were leaving for something, right? There was big reasons why you may have been leaving, and it wasn't just, a feel that happened one day, right? You had something really had to be going on with you, or maybe your home situation, or just it wasn't a right fit for you to transfer, right? And now, although I don't mind student athletes being able to transfer, but I do think the freedom at which everybody kind of moves around causes a lot of different things to happen, and it's very harder now. I felt like we had more of a team, right? Yeah. You were there with people for 3 years, 4 years. If it was an injury, maybe 5 years together, and there were we are Tennessee grads. We went to the University of Tennessee. I think now the student athletes are going to different schools, and they're going to so many schools. When there's alumni day, where are they going back to?
Yeah.
Which school? Is it just the one that handed them a degree? Or is it the one that they may perhaps spent the longest amount of time, which may have been a season or two? And if you go somewhere your junior year, then go somewhere else your senior year, then go somewhere else when you graduate. What school? There's, to me, the unity, the alumni base, I think 20 years from now, we'll start to see the effects of that. Like, we can go call our team up and say, hey, this is the 96 team, then 97 team. Or during our span, your teammates, you're going to add teammates every year because you got freshmen, sophomores, seniors, and so on. But as far as knowing your teammates, spending that time, being in the trenches together, experiencing the same thing, right? Growing in those experiences. That's harder and harder to do with the climate that we have today.
Absolutely. It's funny that you ask. I was riding on the plane this season, and we had a long trip out west. And one of the players asked me, would you rather have played in the time that you did or now? And that really was something to ponder. But then I answered her, and I was like, I'm glad that I played in the era that I did. Not that there's anything wrong with the era that you are playing in, because, hey, it's great. They have so many resources and opportunities and different things that we were not afforded. However, I do think there are some lessons that we learned during our time, which we've talked about, without the pressure of social media, without the pressure of having to look perfect and perform your best every time without the scrutiny of social media. Like, we had the scrutiny in the newspaper, but like we've said, the newspaper was going to take time to print. By that time, we probably already played another game.
Exactly.
And so, and yes, would we like to have the money that they're making and all the opportunities of internships that they're afforded? Absolutely. But that also comes with another set of pressure that we did not have on our plate.
I would agree.
But I also, what you said, I would still stay in the era that we played, the camaraderie, the team. It wasn't just about the transactions. And there's nothing wrong with the transactions because they're going to leave college ready and have resources. But I would still pick our era every time.
I would too. I think you learn a lot having to grow in different situations, handle different things, and you learn a lot about yourself from being in the fire. I think now, not that some kids and players are not in the fire in this situation and climate, but I think back then it was more of, all right, figure it out.
Figure it out.
Figure it out. There's less figuring it out now, I think,
yeah,
than it was when we were players. And so I appreciated that. I think it sharpens your skills. It helps you to navigate and deal with certain situations. So
the resiliency that we were forced, the resiliency that we were forced to have
is disappearing.
Yeah, the resiliency that we were forced to have. And I do think it is different in this climate as well, which is, you have to evolve and change with the game as it changes, just like on through the years. But also kind of like when you think about our parents. So when Coach Summit would give it to us up and down, left and right, and I would call home and my mom would be like, did she put her hands on you? I was like, no. She was like, did she call you out of your name? No. Click, click.
Well, I wouldn't even call home.
So
there was no sense in calling because I knew what I was going to get on the other end of that was, why are you calling me?
Yeah.
Handle it.
Do what she was like, figure out a way. Do what the woman wants you to do. Do what the coaches want you to do.
When I left home, my mom and my dad said to me, you're not coming back home. You do what those people tell you to do.
Yeah.
And that's it. Do your work. Do what those people tell you to do. It's all right.
Absolutely. Well, I did think I was going to go home. I'll never forget. 1997 Christmas break. I had it planned out, girl. I was thinking about, look who's on.
Yeah.
Yo.
We appreciate the support and everybody tuning in. Next episode on Hear Me Out, we have the legendary T. Martin. T gives us his thoughts about being on the field, his college career, NFL career, and perspectives of being a coach. The next episode is a classic. Stay tuned in to Hear Me Out.
Peace out.
Hear me out. Hear me out. Ooh. Real talk, we don't play around. Hit that play. Let the truth come out. Stay tuned in, stay tuned.